Bells going on.
We can't go until it's just like every pass and
First was that there.
I was too scared for it.
You wanna really have problems for a restaurant.
That's what we're talking about.
We'll call tonight's meeting of the Boyd City Council to order. Mandy, would you take a roll call, please?
Raymond Fonte,
Present.
Kent Miller,
Present.
Lee McMillan,
Present.
Tony Gaylor,
Yes.
Matt Audie,
Here.
Louis Latrell,
Present.
Andrew Graybon.
Present.
Thank you. If you stand with me for the invocation and pledge. Heavenly Father, we come to you this evening and we appreciate the fact that we're allowed to live in our great country. You tell us there's a time to reap and there's a time to sow, and we are in that time right now in our community. Please with our farmers so they have an abundant harvest and that they're able to plant their crops as we get prepared for next year's harvest. So in your name we pray, amen.
Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Henry. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Raymond.
Nothing, thank you.
Lee.
No, sir.
Ken. Matt.
Boyd, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Katie.
Nothing this time, thank you.
Mr. Reed. Yeah, he always has something.
Yeah, I did. First, before I forget, I put on your table and apologize. I got this probably 2 weeks ago at least, so I forgot to give it to you. But next Tuesday at this time, they're going to be having a meeting for the Mitchell County 150th anniversary celebration that'll be happening over the course of the coming months. And so, kind of a planning, brainstorming meeting. It looks like up at their. That looks like. No, is that the normal, the old museum, or is it the new one? Okay. Yeah, so it's at their new facility, they're in the old American Legion building, so just kind of want to make sure that you're aware of it and if you make some time, be there to be a part of that. So I want to make sure I mention that, it's on the table. The other thing I really want to give you an update on is the airport. We're seeing some pretty good movement on that now. Like I mentioned a couple weeks ago, we had the FAA just do a site visit at the airport. More just they do like a canvas, I guess I would say a tour of a tour of airport projects is really what it was for. So they had to be at our airport for about an hour and a half, after they visited 4 or 5 others that day a couple weeks ago. And so I had a good conversation with Jason Nipp, who is kind of the guy that's, said, hey, we got some problems here, we need to get them resolved. And so we had good conversations about what exactly needed to be done. So I kind of had an understanding, but it just seemed like it was delayed and not getting the right pieces in place. And so had a good conversation with Brad Waller, and so now we've kind of got a good, if you will, kind of a comment and comment back type of thing, and checkpoints and who's got what done and what's going on. So right now it's in the process of just studying the different obstacles that penetrate that new flatter landing profile. And so once they have those studies done, they'll know how much we need to trim a tree by, or if there's a power pole in the way or whatever. So hopefully there's not a huge impact. We're not really anticipating major things, but there'll probably need to be some adjustments made to help get that into compliance. And down on the south end of the runway, we really aren't expecting any sort of displacement. It's more that north end because of Highway 15 and some of the stuff, or Highway 24, that's kind of causing some issues. But we'll know more about that once those studies are in place, and then this Jason Nipp will be able to tell us, hey, here's X, Y, Z you need to do, and we can get it done. So I feel like it's accelerating. He said about a month to have these remaining studies here. You can see these numbers that are in. So all those different objects will get, that little study done to see where it's at, what needs to mitigate it, and then we should really have a pretty good game plan to help get this resolved. you could have a pretty good plan of attack, you know, probably by the end of the year, you know, because we should have this done by the end of November.
So that's still the construction company that didn't get the runway long enough?
The engineer,
Yes.
so that, okay, so there's two issues there. First of all, the elevation was put in lower, or, you know, the end of that runway was put in lower, and it just wasn't cleared by the FAA to do that. However, plus, it's a certain thickness runway, so it turns into a certain category runway, which requires a flatter landing profile, okay? That's really always been there. But what's changed over the last 20, 10, 20, 30 years of why they're interpreting it more strictly, I don't know if they just used to let it be that way, because it was always that steeper approach angle, but technically by a rule, since it's a 16,000 pound runway or certain thickness runway, it has to use that flatter landing profile. So technically, it should have just been designed and engineered around that from the very beginning, if that makes any sense. You know, if we would have known that from the beginning, that runway would have been put in completely different, really.
Right, so not only are we clearing up issues from our most recent construction, they've also raised issues with the way our airport was already prior to what we just did, just things that we have.
Yeah, like the one on the south side, south end, they're having to do that, well, that hasn't changed in 30 years.
Great, this is,
You see what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. So, yeah, there was not, that 5 foot in there, and how much that affects it, it affects it some, but that 30 to 1 or 20, I can't remember which one, you know, that extreme angle change, that's what affects it a lot. That's the big change. And so if we would have been by the book in the initial design 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, when they first started doing the master plan and all that stuff, probably the consensus right then, I'm like, well, it doesn't look like we can do much. Maybe we can tack on 100 foot or 200, you know, that's, so now we're kind of in reverse, going back and kind of trying to straighten that out, so. The only plus side, I guess, is it's still our taxpayer money, but, you know, 90% of
But
the
is that our fault or is that the engineer's fault?
Well, I would say that's the engineer's fault and the FAA for not, I mean, they had, there was one comment, like I mentioned a couple months ago, there's one comment back in 2012 that said, is this supposed to be a, you know, I can't get my scopes from my angles on, 24 to 1 or whatever, and it was never followed up on, or never followed up back up by the FAA either, so, yeah.
So the engineers probably say it's not our fault.
No, he said, I'm gonna make it right, I'm gonna make it right. Well, you know, I think that's kind of where, once we know what these studies are, what the mitigation is, I think that's when the rubber hits the road as far as how much damage that is to us. I mean, our big goal with this whole thing, from what I can understand, was to be over a 4,000 foot runway.
Right, so we could run this big.
Correct. And so if all of a sudden we're a 3,950 foot runway, I think that raises a big issue. You know, now if we're a 4,050 foot runway, I'm not gonna be as happy, but you know, as it were, I don't know, you know, that's gonna be a little bit different story. Yeah, I still think they should pay for the repainting or any light movement or anything like that, but, you know, at that point, it's, you know, that's probably what we should have had to begin with, you know, and that kind of thing, so. But I guess what I wanted to say to this is finally getting us close to finding out, and we're down to those last, 10 items. It's gonna tell us exactly what's penetrating that airspace. We already have air rights to, but what's penetrating that and what we're gonna have to do to actually mitigate it. So we're gonna have the real answers here in about probably 30 to 45 days.
At least we got a runway, still got a runway, so.
Yeah. Yeah, it's still listed, I mean, it's still a 4,199 foot runway, it's listed as such, and for the non-visual landing approaches, that's where we don't have instructions for that, because it's under review, because, you know, nobody hitting that when they're coming in at that extreme, that's the lowest extreme point. Most airplanes aren't coming in that flat, they have to make allowance for that.
So that's still holding up the lighting at the end of it, where the.
Correct.
Everything's still.
Yep, because everything would hinge off of that. You want those PAPIs to be designed to where that first initial approach of that runway is. Because those are telling you, they're telling you, you're coming in too high, coming in too low, you know, too high, you know, can't remember what the saying is, but red, you're dead kind of thing. That's what they're trying to do, so you gotta make sure they're in the right spot on that. And some of the mitigations could be as simple as just a post, but you know, some sort of a thing with a red light on it, you know, for example, like for the highway, you know, the highway's fine, it's this tall semi that goes by, it's more of a problem. So, and you'll see that in, I mean, if you remember some urban settings, you know, you'll see those lights on the red posts in different places where it's real tight, there's exit ramps and stuff like that. So there's some mitigation, it's not just, you know, removal or. The power line on 24? I thought there already was, yeah. There already was, yeah.
Where you may see power pole listed,
Yeah.
that might be a private power pole that may have.
Like a service pole that's, you know, penetrating at 4 feet, so we're gonna either lower it or bury it. Yeah. That's all I got, really,
Okay.
unless you have a question.
Thank you. Next item is economic development.
I don't have anything unless you have anything for me.
Anybody have anything for him? We have nothing.
All right, that's good.
Chief Elam, do you have anything this evening?
I think you have all the documents that I gave to the city manager. Are there any questions? I mean, I don't know if you've gotten a chance to look over them yet.
Yeah, probably not. I'll just kind of go through it really quick with the, kind of on your table, the first set of pages, kind of a grid of all the different types of, you know, categories. As you can see, even with being, you know, a little bit short staffed, you know, September is where you could really see the biggest hit of being, you know, down a few officers, but still some activity, you know, they're still out there, still doing their job, still patrolling, and plus I think that correlates probably too, I don't know, Chief, if you've seen that, you know, when school starts back up, that
Yeah,
usually
School
helps.
started up, things kind of quiet down a little
Things
bit,
quiet
because you
down
don't have as many
naturally
people out.
anyways, but,
More people are home doing homework, helping the kids with homework than they are out getting in trouble.
yeah.
Are
So-
these crimes reported or crimes? Those are ones that we've investigated. The ones that you see on the first grid, those are the ones we've actually done reports on and turned in for prosecution.
Any concerns that you have based on what you're seeing right now?
It's pretty typical. October, you can see part of it already. We've only been halfway through the month and we're already where we were for September. I mean, we just had a transition there when we were really short, but, you know, things got shuffled around a little bit until we got back into a rhythm. And now as you can see, we had 622 calls for service for the last 3 months. You can divide that up into 3 months, and our call volume hasn't diminished any. But we're taking those 622 calls with 4 guys. So if you see them, pat them on the back. They're still out there doing their job.
Still doing the job, the need's still there, so, yeah, I just kind of thought it'd be nice if they put us together. Kind of another, one at the very end is kind of a heat map, I guess, if you will, for code enforcement first of all, so you kind of see what Doug's doing. This is kind of his third quarter, what he's heading on, and then trying to work and lean on and talk with. And then kind of the same thing with the PD, kind of where they're at and what's going on. So again, this is something that really cheap app that you can kind of manipulate and kind of helps them keep track of where the problem spots are. But as you can see, it's kind of just spread all over down. They're all over the place. So, two officers are in their, what, third week of school now, so.
No, they're finishing up their second week. It'll be the end of their third week. They've taken 2 tests, they're both still in school. The third one is wrapping up his preliminary training, and you probably start seeing him out by himself.
Any progress on the software package that he was looking at with the county?
We're still waiting on a decision from Mitchell County. I'm gonna talk with the sheriff and try to get that worked out this week so we can have it to you before November. It looks like they all want to do it. It's just a question of timing at this point.
Yeah. Thank you. Next item on the agenda would be the consent agenda. Been moved by Councilman McMillan that we approve the consent agenda in its entirety. Do I have a second? Second by Councilman Fonto. Is there any further discussion?
I mentioned one correction, I did the application last week, not you. It's a minor thing.
Okay, we can change the Councilman Grayson to the indication. No further discussion. discussion? Those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda this evening is ordinances. 2214, the weeds and grass and mowing. We discussed these kind of at the last meeting.
And we fixed any issues we saw in the last meeting.
Been moved by Councilman Giengler that we approve ordinance 2214, weeds, grasses, and mowing. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman McMillan. Any further discussion? Those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda this evening is ordinance 2215, the public use of city building. Again, we discussed these in the work session last week.
So moved.
Been moved by Councilman Graybon that we approve ordinance 2215 buildings,
Second.
and second by Councilman Miller. Any further discussion? Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Next, this evening,